Thank you for inviting me. It's like coming home a little bit because I was actually part of the Sustain Nordic way years back as a project leader when we talked about wood as a construction material. But I'm very happy that you changed it to be more broader than just wood, because we know we have a lot more in common or a lot more materials to use than just wood. Yeah. So my name is Anders Vestergaard Jensen, and I'm from the Nordic Council of Ministers, who have been funding this project and the Sustainable Nordic Construction Program, among others. I will speak a little bit about who we are and why we have funded this, and a little bit about the future as well, what we look into, how we can continue the work here. So the Nordic, well, we do have some commons in the Nordic we like to build on. We like to be open, and we like to believe in everyone's right to express their views. We also trust each other, and we also have compassion, tolerance, and the conviction that all people are of equal values. But we also like to think in a new way and trying to be innovative and creative. And I can see, I'm sure that a lot of you in this room are very creative and innovative, so I'm very proud to be in the same room as you. But we also like to talk about sustainable management of the environment and also the exploitations of its resources, which is a very big question in these days. So as Pernille said, we have this vision, which is quite ambitious, that we would like to be the most sustainable and integrated region in the world. So it's about being a green Nordic region, where we can promote this transition to a more green society, carbon neutrality, and a circular and bio-based economy. But also a competitive Nordic region, where we promote green growth, if you can even say that in these days. But also talk about knowledge, innovation, and mobility, and digital integration in the Nordic region. And actually, this program grew out of the business sector in the Nordic Council of Ministers. But now it's even more broader on also sustainability, environment and climate, and so on. But also a socially sustainable Nordic region. I think we can all sign off that these values are good and we should thrive for these. But it's also quite ambitious, and you can be a little bit worried when you stand here in 20 on the edge of 25, and see if you'll reach that in 2030. But at least it's a good vision, I still think, and it's good to have ambitions. So the Nordic Council of Ministers, you're not supposed to read everything here, but it's just to say that it's quite a complex organization. I can say that from working in it. We have 14 different ministries, going from labor, sustainable growth, culture, environment and climate, and education and finance and digitization. But we also have 12 institutions placed out in the whole Nordic region, and we also have 3 Baltic offices. So we are quite all over the place in the Nordic region. But of course, it's a very political organization, and we're doing what the countries what policies they have, and trying to be common on that in the Nordic region. And I can say, even though you think the Nordic region is a common area, we have a lot in common. We are still also very different, but that only makes it more challenging and fun to work in. So what we have been doing, as Pernille also said, that we have funded this Nordic Sustainable Construction as a kind of a flagship program within sustainable construction, and we have the different work packages here that, as Pernille also mentioned, but we also have other initiatives that work within the same area. So we have a Nordic Network for Circular Construction, to see how can we work with circular construction, how can municipalities work, what kind of indicators should they strive for when they also make public procurement, for example. And we also have the Nordic Carbon Neutral Bauhaus, which is also an initiative funded by, or partly funded by the Nordic Council of Ministers. And on top of that, we have a lot of other stuff that also touches upon construction and sustainable construction. So there's a lot going on, and we're trying to connect all the dots to have all the synergies. But yeah, sometimes it's a really hard job, but I think the program here has done quite a good job of also this part. The program, you can see that it's a large program, and it have very different work packages, but actually it succeeded quite well of having these synergies here. Looking forward, we have just finished our political priorities for the next period here, leading up to the vision, or finishing the vision, hopefully achieving the vision. So we have now 14 programs, political programs of what we are going to work with in these next years here. One of these areas is sustainable resource management, which we see is a key. Even though we say that the Nordic region is, sometimes you say it's on the forefront of sustainability, but actually, if you look in the numbers, we are actually maybe not that good. we are using a lot of resources and too many resources, too many globes, as you say, and we are exceeding the planetary boundaries quite a lot. So we have really huge carbon footprints. So what we need is more systemic and innovative change, both by consumers, companies, but also the public sector. We know that the nature and biodiversity are under pressure, especially also in the marine areas, but everywhere. So we need to focus on that. So we are hoping to work together at all the Nordic but also international levels to address this, and to support solutions at these intersections between climate, biodiversity, and pollution in the future. So there's a lot of challenges you can see looking forward here, but we are our ambition is to continue the work within construction. And I would just like to say thank you for Sustain Nordic for all the recommendations. I haven't read them all, but I've skimmed them through, and I really like that you kind of address the Nordic Council of Ministers, the public, the consumers, the private sector, and so on. So it makes it really tangible to work with. So I would really like to say thank you a lot to all the good work that you've done, and I'm looking really forward to take it forward and present it to all the ministers in the Nordic region. Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Anders. Yeah, thank you, Anders. And I also wanted to thank you for the collaboration. It's been really nice, and I'm not just saying that. I think it's been one of the best projects I've ever been working on. Good collaboration, both between actors, but also with the funder. So I hope it will continue. Okay, so now it's time to dive into the first topic of today, which is